Hey guys, we are back for another video and lesson on our digital toolbox and talking about our durable skills and how to practice those with some technology integration in the classroom. Today's tool, we are going to be discussing collaboration. So when we kind of look back on that durable skills list that we had from the first session, collaboration is really at the bottom of the list of the top 10 skills that are needed. Communication is holds 4 of the top 10 spots. But when we think about collaboration, it's really embedded in a lot of these things because overall our teamwork skills and working together skills are part of collaboration, and communication is a part of that, leadership is a part of that, critical thinking is a part of that. So while it may not be the number one skill, it is a very, very important skill that we need to help our students learn how to do. It doesn't always come easy for everybody. I was one of those for group projects that I was the one that wanted to do everything because I knew that it was done correctly. So collaboration might be something we have to explicitly teach to our students, that we have to work through these skills on how to work with other people, that we can't just do it all ourselves, and we also can't just sit back and wait for other people to do it for us either. So we're going to jump back. We are going to talk about several tools today. We're going to talk about a couple of the Google tools and how collaboration is so easily integrated into those. And then we're going to talk about 2 additional ones that one's an oldie but goodie. Padlet's been around for a long time. And then I'm also going to show you Figma. Now, I will go ahead and tell you I'm not a gigantic fan of Figma. It does have a great intention and a great purpose. It is just not my personal favorite. So we're going to dive into some of those today and hopefully figure out how we can enhance teaching collaboration even when we're having to do it virtually. So looking at some of those buzzwords that go along with collaboration, those include coordinating, teamwork, scheduling, cooperation, team building. Overall, anything that has to do with teamwork and connection. This can be virtual teams or in-person teams, and ultimately having a team-oriented mindset, that everything is a team effort, that if we are working on a project, that it is not just one person's work, it is the product of everything. You know, we can look at like that at our central office, that this is a cohesive effort from different departments. This is the teaching and learning department. This is from the technology department. The child nutrition department works on making sure that our children are fed healthy and nutritious lunches and things like that. So, you know, really we want to focus on that aspect too, that it is that true team effort, not just what one person sees or one person completes rather. And one person's not responsible for it either. There we go. Google really was created in mind that it was supposed to make things easier, but it was mostly created to help people collaborate with each other. So I found this little quote: Google Docs fuels the shift to collaborative classroom writing, that collaboration is key to helping kids make authentic connections with text and information. So we have lots of good ways that we want to teach collaboration within these Google products. I know sometimes it is used for evil. We have some things we're going to look at for next year, but we're all going to focus on the good for right now. So we're going to talk about 3 classroom products. You have heard of these before. They are all things that can be used in the classroom and you've probably had used in the classroom. But we're going to talk about just the shift of thinking what its functionality truly is and how it can be used as a collaborative tool. So let's start with Google Docs. So we can use Google Docs. We can collaboratively work on a Google Doc. We can assign tasks to different people. One thing that is newer in Google Docs that I absolutely love is the document approval process. I'll show you how that works. Also, the smart chips are another really cool thing in Google Docs that's embedded that has helped improve the collaborative aspect. And then a big thing that I wanted to highlight too with this is just the accessibility features in Google Docs. I'm going to show a couple of those today too, just as a little bonus if you have not seen those before. Another thing I'd like to point out, whoops, sensitive mouse today, is that Google Meet is embedded in all 3 of these things. So while your students may physically be sitting next to each other and working together, Google Meet helps create a connection for people who are not together. I have presented at several conferences statewide, and whenever we're planning and working through things, a lot of times the easiest thing to do is jump in a Google Slide or in a Google Doc, open a Google Meet, and we are all working cohesively. We can see each other in the same screen, we're working in the same screen, and it's like we're being in the room with each other truly. So that aspect brings everybody together really nicely. So I'm just going to open up a new doc, and just your little fun fact for the day, one of many I hope I can give you. If you just type in docs.new in your screen, it opens up a brand new Google Doc. The only thing I have to say about that is it may not be in the folder or file location that you want it in your drive, but it absolutely opens up a brand new one where you can just start typing and go. So I first want to point out where the Google Meet button is. I'm just going to do collab presentation test doc. Always name your documents, that way you don't have 15 bajillion untitled documents in your screen. So the Google Meet button is right here. So you can click, we can start a new meeting. It's going to pop up right here on the side. It says I'm the only one in here. It's not, I can get it to turn on my camera. I have not enabled it. It's not doing my microphone, which is probably the best. So I can invite people to come in here, and we can see each other in this sidebar while we're collaboratively working in the Google Doc. Now, sometimes you're thinking, like, if we're all working in the doc, do we really need to see each other? Sometimes it's nice to be able to just converse casually back and forth. You know, oh, should I add a paragraph here about this? Or, hey, who do you think would be best at this assignment? Or things like that. Also, picking up facial expressions and tone, like we talked about with that communication piece, can be very valuable. You can see my expressions all over my face. I do not have a good poker face. So if I don't like an idea, you're probably going to be able to tell by looking at my face. So having the camera enabled can be a great aspect. And again, the functionality of this is that we don't have to be in a separate Google Meet screen and then with the document. It's all in one place right here. They've really worked on this maybe like in the past year or so that this feature has been enabled. So I'm going to stop the Google Meet because I'm not going to invite anybody to it today. We're going to end it for everybody and show you a couple of things in Docs. So if we are working in our Google Doc, so this is our sample Google Doc for our collaboration presentation. So if I'm working in the doc and I want to maybe make a task list. So, you know, number one is going to be create a presentation for whatever assignment. So maybe I want to assign that to somebody. If you just type this @ symbol right here, you can assign things to people and it will actually send them a notification. So all I'm going to be able to do is just click Shane's name, and then he is going to get a notification that he needs to come into this doc and do something. I was texting him to let him know that he does not need to actually do anything for this. I'm just using his name as an example. So he is going to be assigned to that. And then I can come down here and I can put my name on here. So that's going to be assigned to me so that when Shane does come in this doc, he's going to be able to see that it's my job to make the video. And you can do this on and on and on. Another thing that you can do here is that, you know, we can come back and we can say, okay, maybe I'm going to add a comment over here. And it says, you know, do you want to use slides or Canva? So this is another way with the comment feature that we can kind of have a sidebar conversation. Let's say that we're not actively or we're not working on this synchronously, that we're working on this at different times. You know, maybe you're using this as an adult and you're doing grad school work and you're a night owl and the other person is an early morning person. You can kind of have these side conversations over here. You can even tag the people in here. I'm using Screencastify. So you can tag people and you can assign it to them through the comment too. So the comment feature is something that I don't know if it's utilized very much, but it's a really great collaborative tool that we could use to help people be able to go back and forth and build a cohesive presentation. Another thing that I wanted to bring up and show you is the document approvals if you have not done this. This has been really great. Over the past year, we have revamped our data governance policy, and it was really hard to get 15 people together 4 times a year. It just is for people that are in different schools, have different roles. We're all busy. and things like that. So we did do some virtual meetings, and what we ended up doing is that I built an agenda in Google Docs, and everyone virtually approved this. This is a great way to make sure that everybody who is supposed to see something has seen it and approved it, and it's super easy to do. So we are just going to go over here to File and go to Approvals. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a request. We're just going to keep using Shane, and it's going to say sample approval document. You can add a due date to this, that this needs to be approved by next week at 6 p.m. You can allow them to edit the file or not. So if you are looking at something and this is a final draft of something and you don't want someone to edit anything, don't check it. You can also lock it before you send it. Or if you're sending it to someone and you want them to make the needed corrections and then approve it, you can do that as well. So you can send that request, and it's going to give him rights to that. And then now over here under the approval pending, or over here on the sidebar under the approvals, it's going to show that this is a pending approval. Once it is approved, it will have a timestamp and it will show when he's actually approved it. So this is also a really good paper trail so that you can make sure that people have seen this document. Even if you can't 100% ensure that they have read over it, that you'll know that they've done that. So that's a really good kind of backup and way to ensure that everybody has contributed to those things. So a couple of other things that I want to make sure you know too, with any Google Doc, you can open up the version history. This is a way that you can see who has been working on the Google Doc. You can see what they've done. If multiple people were working on the doc, it would show multiple things in different colors and show who did what. That would absolutely be on there. Another thing that you can do too, just to show you this as well, under tools, we can do voice typing. It is super easy to use the voice typing tool, period. You do have to speak punctuation if you want to punctuate. So if you are just wanting to do some collaborative thoughts, or even if you're wanting to record a meeting, you can do that in Google Docs with that voice typing tool. Another great thing is that then if you need to, you can take this and go to tools, and you can translate. It's going to translate the whole document, but still something you may want to know. It's going to make a new document. You can actually translate the entire document too. So when we're thinking about working with other people who speak differently than we do, we can actually take the work we've done and we can get it translated, and we can be able to go back and forth with Google that allows us to do that too. So Google Docs has some really powerful features. A lot of these same features are in Google Slides as well. So the commenting feature is in there, the voice typing, the translation. I'm still going to open up a slide to show you too, but a lot of the things that I have showed you in here too works as well for this. Another last piece that I wanted to show about Google Docs is that whenever we are creating a Google Doc, if I am the particular owner of the doc, then I can give people the right that I'm editing the document, that I'm making suggestions to the document, or I can say that we are absolutely viewing the final copy. So as the owner, I can set what I'm wanting to do there. Maybe you want to be in suggesting mode if you're the teacher making some suggestions or corrections, and it's going to put those things in a different color and add a little list over here that looks similar to a comment. One thing about the comments too is that once you complete that, you can check it off and it goes away. So that really can serve as like a little virtual to-do list. A very cool feature. Okay, now let's jump over to slides. I'm going to close those out. Same thing, we can do slides doc new, make a new slideshow. Slides is getting so fancy, they're trying to compete with everybody else right now, so that's okay. So I'm going to do collaborative sample presentation. Okay. So our commenting feature is still on here. I may have to kind of reduce your size add a comment. We can do those things. The same thing, you can use the @ symbol. All of those things you can do again in Google Slides. Another thing that I did want to talk about once we got over to slides, just to have a different screen to look at, is our sharing permissions. So whenever we are inviting people to edit our documents, we have a couple of different roles that we can give them. They can be the editor, which means they can edit and they can change anything they want to. They can only be the commenter. So if you have someone that you want to keep everything a certain way and just get feedback, maybe you just want to give them commenting permissions, or they can be a viewer where they can only look at it. So you can kind of control what you want that person to be able to do. You also can add an expiration on it. So we're going to put them as a commenter, and they are only going to get 1 week to do this, and then they're not going to be able to do this anymore. Their access is going to expire. That's a great way to make sure that things get done in a timely manner, in my opinion, is if you put that deadline on it. So that's another aspect to kind of bring in whenever we are sharing work between others and things like that. The Meet feature is also the same button. You can start a new meeting within your slide. There's our screen again. You can share it to someone and be able to pull in those resources and work on your slide all at the same time. Great feature for everyone. And one fabulous new feature about Google Slides is the built-in recording tool. So I hope this doesn't like go crazy while you also have the same approvals while I'm recording, which I'm in a separate program, so that should work too. So if we want to go to tools, I think, no, maybe, insert, view. I thought it was down here at the bottom. Let me just take a peek around really quickly. So it may be, there we go. You can create a recording of your presentation while you are doing your slideshow. So this is a huge development. Right now I'm using Screencastify because I'm recording my entire window. But if you have students that you want to present their presentations, they can record a video of their slide. Camera's right there so you can see them. It has a timer set for 30 minutes. They can blur their background. The big red button's going to start their recording. They can choose for the camera to be off, but you know, if you want to really look at their eye contact and their hand movements and their body posture and all those kind of things, then you can do that while you're doing a slideshow as well. You can decide where you want the picture-in-picture to be, and they can just navigate right here through their slideshow while they are recording. Fabulous feature, huge upgrade. We used to have to do this really the old-fashioned way, the hard way, if you've ever had to do that before too. So new in Google Slides, definitely a handy feature. Last thing that I want to show you in Google Classroom, I don't know if a lot of you use Google Classroom or not, but I certainly hope that you do. I'm going to jump over into my class that I use for all kinds of testing. So, hello, wish this was here during COVID, but if you have all of your students in a Google Classroom, you as the teacher can open up a Meet link anytime you want to open up a Google Meet, and the link never changes. So instead of me trying to like send out a Google Meet link every week or something like that, if you have everybody in your classroom, the Meet link is going to be over here. You have to create it the first time, but then after that, it's always just on join. So it's probably not going to do it while I'm on here either. So let me go to a different classroom that I know has got one right here. So no one else is in here, but this Google Meet can only be opened if the teacher has opened it. That is a setting that is set. The students cannot all come in here and just talk about whatever. But if as a teacher you're wanting to do regular meetings, this saves you the trouble of having to schedule them or send out links or make sure they know it. Everyone is just going to go to Google Classroom. They're going to click that Meet link to join. If the teacher is not in there, they will be in the waiting room, and then once the teacher joins, then they will all be entered into the Meet. The teacher can close the meeting, and there's a lot of features within Google Meet that we can use as well. There's live polls, you can record your meets, you can do question and answers and things like that within the Google Meet too, to kind of help encourage collaboration whenever they're all in a virtual space together. So another really good feature about classroom. Again, next year, we are going to make some changes with the sharing permissions. I will send out information about that, making sure everybody's aware of how to do that. But we're going to try to make sure that we're using everything for good and not evil for between our Google applications. So we have covered all of those things. Now let's take a look at Padlet. So Padlet is definitely an oldie but a goodie. It basically is creating like a big collage type thing. Now this would be a really good way to help students bring together resources from all kinds of different places, not necessarily Google embedded, to be able to put them all in one place, for lack of a better word. As a teacher, you can kind of do this in Google Classroom, but a Padlet really just looks cool. I have got 2 links in here on ways that you can use it, and then this is a screenshot of one of mine, but I'm going to log in really quickly to show you. So it is just padlet.com. You can log in with Google. You can authenticate with your Chilton BOE. That is totally fine. We allow that. It has an educational purpose. And I've made a few Padlets. One of my mini series that I did last year was on integrating technology into core subject areas. So I decided to use Padlet to house all those resources. So linked within this Padlet is my presentation that I did for all of those. And then it is all the resources that I mentioned within those presentations. And they were not all Google. Here is math tools. Here's just a comment on a ViewSonic. Here's some different websites. And it just scrolls through there. So it's kind of like a big bulletin board, if you will. You can share this out with permissions. You do have to give people the ability to edit. It can also be anonymous too if you were doing this with a bunch of adults. It just depends. So I'm just going to go back and set up a new one really quickly to show you a couple of different options that you can see. You can do different examples. The one I just showed you is a column one where you can make the different topics in columns, and then you can put things and organize them in that way. That one is personally my favorite. You can also do the wall where it just kind of snaps to grid for everything. And then Padlet does also have some features that are going to be what I'm going to show in Figma in just a second. But if you notice the catch right here, it says unlimited until June 30th. That means they're probably going to start charging for that. So don't know if I would get married to any of those yet. But I am just going to click on the column one really quickly. You can do all kinds of things. You can change your background. You can, change the colors, all sorts of customization options. So kids will get really bogged down in that, just FYI. But you can add different sections to go across. So like I'm thinking about if we are doing something like this for history, maybe World War I. Each section can be a different country. Each section could be a different battle. It could be a different person if you're doing something in social studies. For science, this could be different aspects of there's so many possibilities. If you're talking about, something with Earth, Moon, and Sun systems, you could do a column about the Earth, about the Moon, about the Sun. If you're doing this for English, you could do different grammatical tools and things like that, or different elements of a story. Possibilities are endless, and you could have kids come in, and whenever they do the Padlet, they have different options too that whenever they type it in, so the example's kind of like the title, they can just simply state a sentence. They don't have to do anything fancy, but they also can upload an image, take an image, they can link a link in, they can search images, and then there's lots of other tools too. They can bring in things from Google Drive, they can make a poll, they can record audio or video of their own answer. So it also gives a lot of differentiation options as well. And then the other students can come back and comment in. This would be a great get to know you activity too. So Padlet is a great, great, great collaborative tool. And then again, I would check out those links right there to give you maybe some inspiration on how you can use this. Figma. So I put on here requires patience and trial and error. So Google used to have a tool called Jamboard. If you've been around a while, you may know what Jamboard was. It was fantastic. I used it with my kids. Took some patience, but we all kind of got used to it. Figma is really kind of the suggested replacement for that. As I told you before, it is not my absolute favorite, but it does serve a purpose. And if you are the kind of person that wants to do those things, then here's your tool. So Figma That is the company name. We are going to look at a Figjam, I believe is what it is. So let me look back in with Google. Again, you can authenticate that with your Chilton BOE. I didn't realize I had locked myself back out. So this kind of makes these, you can do other things, but a Figjam is what I'm focusing on. It is kind of like a really big doodle board, if you will. Canva also has the whiteboard feature. So I'm going to make a new Figjam, just going to title it example. So it does, you notice right there, it said I was using 2 out of 3 free files. So there is a limit if you do not have a paid account. So with our Figma, your main toolbox is down here at the bottom, and this takes a lot of, again, patience and a lot of just kind of clicking and playing around. So you have a text box that you can add, that you can type things in. You also just have a free draw tool. My favorite thing to use on a Figjam are the sticky notes. So that seems to be the kind of direction I try to go in, is I try to maybe just do a big table and do an overarching question or different columns and say, hey, drop a sticky note that goes with this side or something like that. So let me back up really quickly, and you can just delete that with your delete key. I think you can use this little hand tool. Let me get my video things out of here that's to navigate around. Select tool, I can select that and just delete that. So we can just do a question. What is your favorite lunch? I can make this huge. And then we can ask people to come in and put sticky notes to allow them, you can change the colors too, of course, different opportunities to like list what they want. With this Figjam too, you can zoom out lots, so you can have lots of these things and then you can kind of zoom in. It's kind of like a never-ending workspace. So if you're looking at this right now and you're like, wow, that is super overwhelming, it absolutely can be. There are some really, really cool features in it though. For example, one of the things you can do is you can put a timer up here with music. So if you did do this with your kids, it's something you can embed a really fun element to and kind of give them some boundaries with that. They can also come in and like vote on different things with these little stickers and thumbs up and things like that. So that's pretty cool to use. They do have some templates as well if you wanted to check out those that may kind of give you like some starting places. The brainstorming documents are really good. You also could do like these little flow charts. Those would work really well. So if the blank overwhelms you, you could look for a template as well. So again, I'm presenting it. I usually pick a different route. It can be very overwhelming with students, and you have to be pretty structured and straightforward with that. Just saying. So again, for the most part, our goal is that I always want to help you work smarter, not harder. I hope that these collaboration tools have given you some good starters on some ways that you can try to get your kids working together in your classroom. Again, if you ever want help, need another set of adult hands, eyes, ears, I am more than happy to come help you. Please send me an email and I will schedule a time. And I see an error on my presentation. So in April, we are actually doing creativity. So we are going to be building digital portfolios within Google Slides. So that is going to be coming up in April. And then in May, we're going to highlight critical thinking. So please stay tuned for those. And thank you for attending. Please make sure that if you are watching this virtually, that you complete the Google form to serve as your attendance and your PD credit. Thank you.